Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are going to talk about the Realme 5 Pro. It's almost 10 days I'm using this phone. What's my thought over this phone overall? So let's start and see whether the Realme 5 Pro is still worth buying or not, because they have done a lot of improvement, particularly with this 5 series. So here we have the Realme 5 Pro right here in front of you, and I haven't shown you guys the durability test, so you guys can check out the link in the description. Okay, so just for the size comparison, I am bringing the Realme 2 Pro also. Then we have the Realme 3 Pro and we have the 5 Pro. There won't be 4 Pro because of the Chinese tradition. Comparing the size of these two phones, all three phones, they all weigh near around 170 to 180 gram, and their size is almost identical. That's why they have the same 6.3 inches water drop display. This time on the 5 Pro, they have changed actually this headphone jack layout. They moved to the right side since they are using Type-C this time, but buttons are on the same place, SIM tray is on the same place. Okay, so if you're using 2 Pro, 3 Pro, you're not going to notice anything at all. It's weighing similar, it has the same kind of design. Now about the durability stuff and what kind of construction they're using, here's the summary. The whole phone is constructed using the polycarbonate, except the camera frame, which is actually aluminum, I believe, because it's not taking the paint off, but it's tough to cut it. And the fingerprint around here, this scanner, this enclosure, it's also made from the metal. Other than that, whole stuff is of the plastic. On the display side, this time they have changed something. Realme 2 Pro, Gorilla Glass 3 was used. Realme 3 Pro, they use Gorilla Glass 5. But here on this 5 Pro, they used Gorilla Glass 3 Plus. So display quality is really good. When we did the drop test, we did the scratch test, and phone is so far working fine. So moving on to the display, how is the display when compared to the previous generations of the phone? So this is the Realme 2 Pro, 3 Pro and the 5 Pro. And let's toss in another smartphone like the Realme X, which do have the AMOLED display this time. So how it is different compared to other phones. Like you see, there is a huge difference between the LCD versus the AMOLED panel. There is no denying on that. If you really want the best contrast, color should be really great, so you should be looking for the AMOLED display like here on the Realme X. I won't be talking here like the comparison with the Realme X. Maybe if you guys want, I can make a future video about that. But so far, comparing with the older Realme devices like the 2 Pro, 3 Pro, 5 Pro, there is no change in the display, the same PPI, the same display size, 6.3 inches, same kind of notch stuff everywhere. So if I just open setting, you can notice that everything exactly same. But if I open the this Realme X having the AMOLED display, it is more cooler, its colors are more sharp. I can see it here right now in front. Okay, now let's talk about the performance of the Realme 5 Pro. And this time Realme 5 Pro is using the latest Snapdragon 712 based on the 10 nanometer. This is not the best 7 series processor. I still believe Snapdragon 730 used on the Redmi K20 still gives you the best value for the money processor, because that is really great processor. But 7112, it again not bad. And when compared to the other processors like the on the Note 7 Pro, like the Snapdragon 675, or if you just compare with the 710 processor used on some of the other phones, or the 7112, there's not a huge difference in the performance, no matter what companies are saying, like there's a 35% improvement compared to the 710. What I see on using various kinds of 7 series processor, 6 series processor, more or less it is same. I think so. It depends more on the actual RAM management and the software performance tuning being used. In that way, it is more good. But so far, the performance of the Realme 5 Pro, it is really good. I'm using the model having the 8 GB of RAM, and it's really snappy. It works great. Application launching is really quick. And having the more amount of RAM definitely helps in keeping all the applications in memory. So if you're planning to go with the Realme 5 Pro, what I will say, try to go with the at least 6 GB RAM variant. And if you can afford the 8 GB, it is great. But I guess 6 GB, it's more than enough, because up to 8 GB, you're getting some lot of good options from the other manufacturer, even from the same manufacturer like the Realme X. So 6 GB Realme 5 Pro is definitely a good option. Okay, and here is some benchmarking numbers if you're interested to check out. This is the AnTuTu score, quite good number, 180K. It's not a bad score, it's a good number. And then speaking of the Geekbenchmark, this is the latest one taken yesterday, 2 days before, and 5664, not the highest one, but yep, it is respectable score. Now the main highlight of the Realme 5 Pro this time is not the processor but the camera. So like I shown you earlier, this time they moved from the dual camera to the 4 camera. There is no 4 Pro, so there is no triple camera, I think so, just saying. Okay, so this time they had done really great. So they are using the flagship level 48 megapixel Sony sensor, which is being used in many of the popular smartphones, and along with that they have some extra lenses. For example, they have the ultra wide 8 megapixel lens, and they have the 2 megapixel depth sensor, and they have added a new ultra macro lens of the 2 megapixel. And speaking of the actual photo quality, I did some good of comparison with the other brands like the Vivo and the Redmi, and I really see the camera is really great because the sensor itself, hardware itself, is very capable. So you will get a lot of details. If you take 48 megapixels, you can zoom in and get a lot of details, and colors are good. But on the Realme 5 Pro, colors are slightly oversaturated. Like they are doing the Samsung way the Samsung was doing earlier, but a little bit. Colors are slightly more vibrant. I mean, everything looked beautiful on the phone, but if you just compare the photo captured with the naked eyes, you will instantly feel a difference, like this is slightly oversaturated. But for the social media stuff, it is really great. Now they have the ultra wide lens also. You can take around 110 degrees plus of ultra wide lens, and the portrait shots are working good. I mean, indoor portrait from the rear camera is doing nice job, and I haven't found much of the flaws so far. It is doing great like the other phones are doing. It is quick. Now the last option they have is the ultra macro. I really like to take photos so much closer, but the problem with the main sensor is that you can go up to a certain point. Beyond that, your photos will be blurred because every sensor has a physical limitation. But if you have the 48 megapixel, you can just take the photo from slightly further. You can zoom in and you can get more megapixel, more sharpness. But from the ultra macro, you have to go at least up to 4 centimeter, not less than that. Up to the 4 centimeter, you can take a lot of cool, macro shot. If you're taking, you're good. And talking about the selfie, they haven't moved to the 32 megapixel. They are still using 16 megapixel. I mean, it's not bad selfie, but it's okay. But once you take photo with a 32 megapixel, I mean, you will like it. That's really have a great selfie photo. But so far, selfie is good. It is towards the natural. They are not doing much beautification. By default, if you just turn on the camera, it's turned on all the beauty stuff, so make sure to turn it off because it is slightly hidden, the right side. And if you're worrying about the night shots are really great. I like it, but it's not the complete pixel way. They just trying to remove the noise overall, which sometimes make photo look more artificial. Skies looks like some paint job. You can see the canvases you have seen in the wall, so it sometimes looks like that because there are some rings of the light, going from bright to dark. So this is what I feel, but overall details are good, sharpness are good in the low light. And with the night mode, you have seen the photos are pretty great, and without night mode also photos are good. And speaking of the video capability, you can film starting from the 720p, but 1080p, I guess it's a good. So you can film both in 1080p 30 frames per second, 60 frames per second, and beyond that you can go up to the 4K 30 frames per second. And the EIS, that is electronic image stabilization, will be only available on the 1080p 30 frames per second. Beyond that, all photos will be slightly shaky. So if you're trying to film still video, prefer 4K. If you're trying to film moving videos, prefer 1080p 30 frames per second. So this is about the camera. As a package, overall camera is really good. Now speaking of the battery, Realme 5 Pro has the same battery capacity near to the Realme 3 Pro, but this time on the box you will be getting a VOOC Charge, a 3.0 supported 20-watt charger in the box itself, so you don't need to buy other charger, which is really great. I haven't done the charging test of the Realme 5 Pro, and it is exactly same in terms of charging speed. It would be same as the Realme X because both are having the same charging technology, just the battery capacity is different. And about the battery backup, this is really great. Everyone, Realme phones that I'm using, on the average user, see on my usage, like I have to do a lot of speed test comparison. I used to listen music a lot on all the budget phones, comparing the Bluetooth headset. I'm making 2 days very easily. At the end of the next day, I'm getting around 20-30%. So average on the third day, I used to charge my phone. So this is my usage. Anything extra this time? Yes, company has officially said this is sort of a splash proof. We tried the 2-minute test. It is working. Do not try it near to the water because company is not going to give you any warranty claim. And audio is simple. There is no Dolby Atmos support. It's just average single speaker, nothing extraordinary. So what's my thought, if you have the existing Realme devices like the 2 Pro or the Realme 3 Pro, should you go over that? See, if you have the 2 Pro, I think in most of the ways it is improved. Performance is good. I mean, 636 is slightly older, so with the 5 Pro, you'll be getting best performance. You'll be getting much improvement on the camera side. I haven't done the comparison between these two devices. If you want, you can also comment. But if you own the Realme 3 Pro, then performance wise you're not going to see much difference at all. But yes, on the camera side, you are getting slightly more features like the ultra wide, ultra macro. This is the main highlight of this. So I have shared most of the important things that I figured out with this phone. Now, what I like, what I don't like about this phone. So things first, I don't like the display, because I personally like to use the AMOLED display, and especially I like to use the phones with the pop-up camera, because on an average I used to take only 1 or 2 selfie once in a week. So I really don't care about the notches on things. If it is pop-up, it's okay for me, and so far all the pop-up camera phones are durable. The Realme XT I prefer over the display, because AMOLED display, you get the bigger screen. Form factor, it is simple. I prefer polycarbonate over glass phones, because at least I have to worry less. If I drop my phone facing the rear side, I know it's not going to break it. Charging is really great, and RTU should be improved. There should be some Dolby support, because I am using a lot of phones like the Galaxy M series, A series, Motorola One Power and phones. They have the Dolby support, and I listen a lot of music with the Bluetooth wireless stuff. I get better audio there, but this is just simple. There is nothing crazy here. So these are the things I don't like here. But yeah, performance is good, camera is really good. These two things I like about the Realme 5 Pro. And yes, durability is also most important for me. This one is more durable. So 3 points: durability, camera, and the performance. I really like it. So guys, this is it for the Realme 5 Pro complete review. And stay tuned, I'm going to show you very soon what are the best options under 15,000 in which Realme 5 Pro is. You can buy it right now. So what's your thought about the Realme 5 Pro? Are you going to buy this phone or not? Do share me your thoughts on the comment section. So this is it for this video. This is Saurabh. Have a great day.